welcome back to ASJ Doctor Who's thoughts on Doctor Who Series 13, Flux. Alright, firstly, if I sound weird, sorry about that. I've had this weird sort of cough, cold, throaty lump thing going on these last 3 or so days, so if you was wondering, then that's why. So here we go, episode 3 of Series 13. We're basically halfway through the series now, and this was an interesting one. Episode 3, Once Upon Time. This is more of a low-key, sort of introspective, quieter episode of sorts, which I think was a good choice after we've had the Halloween Apocalypse and War of the Sontarans, which were both pretty fast-paced and action-packed for the majority of their runtime, I think. So it's good to have a little slower, more sort of leisurely paced episode in this series to sort of have a more sort of character-driven story of sorts, I guess you could say. There wasn't really a fixed villain in this, it was more like, it was more sort of a character exploration than a way to drive a big plot forwards in a way. Do you get what I mean? I don't think I'm phrasing this very well, I never do. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of good character stuff in here. We get some more with Dan, we get a little bit of his backstory come through, and we get a bit more with him, a bit more with Yaz as well as setting up the Weaving Angel thing for the next episode as well. That's focused mainly on her. And we actually get a lot of stuff on Vinder this time as well. We get basically his entire sort of backstory leading up to where we first met him in episode 1. So that's cool. And it's a really good backstory as well. Him and the girl Belle, the reveal that they were connected, they were like lovers or whatever, and she's like pregnant with his kid and all that lot. So yeah, that's going to be quite a nice plot, them trying to like find each other again after the universe has been royally fucked in the arse by this flux phenomena thing that's gone on. So it's nice that we've got a good reason to care for Vinder, as well as this new Belle character as well, so that's nice. And of course more stuff on the Doctor, which ties into more backstory on the Division. Now last week, when I was looking at the trailer for this, I sort of had the thoughts about like, they're going to be delving right into like stuff with the Division this time, which was partly true, but it wasn't quite what I expected. I guess I was expecting a lot more like straightforward answers and like straightforward scenes about the Division, but I guess I should have known better, really, to be honest. But yeah, it was still quite mysterious, and there's a lot of gaps that are still yet to be filled in. They may never be filled in, they may just be left a mystery, who knows. Yeah, I'm still glad that we got more stuff on the Division. We got some, while it was still quite vague and mysterious and there's still a lot of questions unanswered, I think we have been given a lot more sort of solid stuff to work with. We've basically seen like the events of one of the Division's missions that was actually captained by the fugitive Doctor, so I guess in a way that is kind of what I was expecting us to get, maybe even more so. It's just the way it was presented, it wasn't quite what I was expecting to see. Yeah, that's really cool. We got this backstory of the fugitive Doctor leading a team consisting of Carvanista and 2 currently unknown Division operatives who may or may not become important later on down the line, we don't know. They were sent to the planet Time to stop the Swarm and Azure, who I didn't realise Swarm and Azure was supposed to be the Ravagers as well. They said in the promotion that there was going to be creatures called Ravagers in this series, and I was like, well, when are they going to show up? But it turns out that Swarm and Azure are the Ravagers. I don't feel like they ever really made that clear until this point when they addressed them directly as Ravagers, so would have been nice to know that a bit earlier, but hey, we know now, so that's good. So yeah, last episode, I think it was mainly Azure that was saying stuff about all the events that happened in the Temple of Atropos once, or happened again, or whatever it was that she was saying. So these sort of flashback type sequences in Doctor's own time stream memory, I guess that's pretty much what those events are. So if you can hear like scuffling in the background, my dog appears to be licking his testicles over in the corner of my room and he's scraping on the carpet. I do apologise if that was too much information. Moving on. Yeah, it was just really interesting to see the closest that we've seen so far a actual Division mission, should we say, and it seems like there was a lot of implied stuff there as well. Dan, Yaz and Vinder, who obviously representing other Division characters in the Doctor's time stream, but they appear as the characters that we know because plot, I don't know. The way they were talking, they implied that this was like the fugitive Doctor's last mission or something before the Division was going to dismiss them or something along those lines, which of course from the Brendan scenes in the series 12 finale, we know that in actual fact they didn't necessarily dismiss the fugitive Doctor. They in fact just wipe their memory and turn them into a regular Time Lord. At least I think that's the series of events that happened. I'm still not entirely sure like how these events have sort of happened. It's still a bit of a tangled mystery at the moment, really, so we can't really tell for sure. But yeah, it's nice that we've got a more sort of tantalising glimpse yet again into this backstory, into this story arc that Chris Chibnall is beginning to build here. Well, it's not necessarily tantalising as such, but it's still shrouded in a lot of mystery. But yeah, really loved that whole aspect of the episode, honestly. The whole division stuff was just brilliant. I really liked it. Nice little cameo of the Daleks as well in one of the earlier scenes, even if they were done entirely with rather crappy CGI. Not gonna lie, I feel like that was very noticeably bad CGI, but then this series was filmed during a fucking apocalyptic plague outbreak, so I can't really blame them for maybe cutting corners here and there. I think it looks good enough to be passable anyway, and I don't really mind. And then the Cybermen have their little appearance as well. It is a bit disappointing that the Cybermen only had like a couple brief appearances in this episode as a sort of side villain, especially the way they were presented in the trailer, both the series trailer and this trailer for this episode as well, that was at the end of last week's episode. They basically were like shoved into the cameo status basically for this one. But hey, at least they got a little more screen time than the Daleks, I guess, so that's something. The universe is apparently still falling apart, so we've seen a bit of stuff in the aftermath of the Flux as well, with the Belle's character and what she's doing, sort of roaming around the universe trying to get back to Vinda. And in those scenes we see the universe has kind of fallen to shit. I mean, it's still sort of being held together, but there's a lot of like timey-wimey stuff going on, shall we say. It seems like a little bit of a Winning of River Song type scenario, where like time has sort of become non-linear and it's like not really running as it should be. So yeah, it basically seems like time has sort of collapsed in a way, and like day can turn to night in an instant, and time is sort of running a bit sort of forwards, backwards, all over the place and everything. So that's interesting. I don't know if they're going to build up on that a bit more as we go on. It'd be interesting to see if they do. That guy from the 1820s cropped up again. He seems to just sort of pop up like in every episode for like one scene for like a minute and then bugger off after being a bit mysterious. So hopefully, I feel like he's going to be in episodes 5 or 6 as like a major, like he's going to be like a major part of whatever's going on or something. Not sure where they're going to go with that. There's really not enough information to do any kind of speculation on him at the moment, so we'll just have to wait and see what's up with the guy from 1820. Can't remember his name, sorry. Yeah, all the characters are brilliant in this, absolutely love them all. No complaints whatsoever with any of them. Jodie Whittaker especially gave a brilliant performance in this, probably one of her best to date actually. Last major thing that's really on my mind about this episode, this kind of came completely out of nowhere, but the scene just before the Doctor is sent out of her time stream and sent back into the real world towards the end of the episode, we have this scene where she ends up in this room with an old woman. That kind of came out of absolutely nowhere, and we have no idea who she's about, but she's obviously going to be a big part of whatever's going on. The whole scene was done with like close-ups between the two characters, so we didn't really get to see what room they were in. That looked like some kind of room with like some computers and like basically just like, a lot of tech and equipment lying around, so God knows what that's about. She implies that the Doctor caused the Flux, so not sure what she means by that. We'll have to wait and see. And we also have no idea who she is. The way she was talking, some of the things she said implied that she is perhaps above Swarm and Azure, and she's like, she never said anything that would imply that she caused the Flux or that she's behind it, but she definitely has some kind of hand in what's going on. And I haven't been able to rewatch the episode since, but just from the bits I'm trying to remember, the gist I get is that this old woman, we don't know what her connection is, but while she may not be the one causing the Flux in any way, she does seem to have the desire for it to carry on. She's basically in favour of the Flux wiping out the universe. That is basically what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm getting from what she was saying, pretty much. So, yeah, who is she? What's going on with her? She kind of came out of nowhere. Is she Tecteun? Or, God forbid, the fucking Rani? Because any new female character in Doctor Who who's mysterious is the Rani until confirmed otherwise, apparently. Like I say, this is a pretty well presented mystery with not enough information for us to really make any proper guesses. So yeah, we're left with no choice but to just carry on watching and see where it turns out, I guess. I think that's pretty much all I've got to really say on this episode, to be honest. I didn't have quite as much to say about this one as I did for the other two, but I did still really enjoy it, I gotta say. I don't think I liked it quite as much as War of the Sontarans. I think if I had to rank these 3 episodes so far, it would probably be from least favourite to most favourite. It would probably be Halloween Apocalypse, Once Upon a Time, and then War of the Sontarans if I had to put them in an order, but they have all been brilliant for me. They've all been at least an 8 out of 10 so far, I think. Yeah, not really much to say about this one, just opened up a whole lot more mysteries. Had quite an interesting narrative style as well, with jumping between all these time streams. Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say for this one. Now, next week's episode might be delayed by a day or two because I'm going away somewhere for the weekend and I don't know what time I'll be back on the Sunday, so if I get around to watching Doctor Who on the Sunday evening when it goes out, then the video will probably be out the usual time. If not, I may end up watching the episode on Monday and the video might not be out until sort of Tuesday evening, maybe Wednesday morning, but yeah, we'll see. It'll definitely be out sometime next week, that's for sure. But yeah, that's all I have for today. What do you think of this episode? Comment below, like anyone ever comments on this channel. Anyway, leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already. I'm gonna go before I start feeling any worse. And yeah, see you in the next video, which will probably be my thoughts on episode 4, Village of the Angels. Be interesting to have a Weeping Angel story again after all these years, and yeah, see you all next time. Bye!